1. Explain the aims of United Nations Organization. Answer: The aims of UNO: 1. To maintain peace and security in the world. 2. To maintain dignity in the world. 3. To promote warfare scheme for people. 4. To promote health facilities. 5. To end the racial discrimination. 2. Why did Indian soldiers oppose the use of Royal Enfield rifles, guns? Answer: Refusing to bite the cartridge was a turn of phrase used by the British in India of native Indian soldiers, sepoys, who had mutinied in 1857. It derives from the act of biting open a paper cartridge containing gunpowder and musket ball in order to load contemporary rifles, especially the new pattern 1853 Enfield rifled musket. The phrase is thought by some to have later spawned the more familiar idiom "bite the bullet." One of the alleged causes of the Indian Rebellion of 1857 were rumors that the grease on these cartridges designed to keep them dry was, variously, pork or beef fat, pork being abhorrent to the Muslims, cows being sacred to the Hindus, thus the refusal to bite them. 3. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is called Iron Man of India. Why? Answer: Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is called Iron Man of India because he was instrumental in uniting the country through merger of small princely states. 4. How did government solve the Tibetan refugees problem? Answer: To solve the Tibetan refugees problem, Government of India gave 3,000 acre of land to Tibetans near Bailongla and Karnataka. 5. Output of agriculture sector dropped in America after First World War. Why? Answer: The output of the agriculture sector dropped in America after First War due to use of standard equipment on farms. 6. What is disarmament? Answer: Disarmament: the reduction and elimination of weapons, weapon materials, and weapon delivery systems, in order to enhance security, peace, and the survival of humanity. 7. Who wrote the book, The Republic? Answer: The book The Republic was written by Plato circa 380 BC. 8. Devdasi system is an inhuman practice. Why? Devdasi system is an inhuman practice as women were sent by their parents to dedicate their whole life in local temples for the service. 9. Which state of India has the largest area under forests? Answer: Madhya Pradesh has the largest area under forest. 10. Which are the forests found in river deltas of eastern coast of India? Answer: Chilka Lake is a brackish water lake along the eastern coastal plain. It lies in the state of Odisha and stretches to the south of the Mahanadi Delta. Deltas of many of India's rivers form a major portion of these plains. The Mahanadi, Godavari, Kaveri and Krishna rivers drain these plains. 11. Why do the construction companies provide more demand for aluminium? Answer: Recycling produces high-value economic impact. The production of secondary, recycled, aluminum saves more than 90% of the energy costs associated with primary production. Recycling produces high-value economic impact. The production of secondary, recycled, aluminum saves more than 90% of the energy costs associated with primary production. Jobs are increasing. This includes work generated in core American manufacturing sectors including primary, secondary, smelting and alloy production. Recycling produces high-value economic impact. The production of secondary, recycled. 12. What is density of population? Answer: Density of population is defined as the number of persons per square kilometer. 13. Why was the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act enacted in 1993? Answer: The 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act was passed by the Parliament in April 1993. The amendment provided a constitutional status to the Panchayati Raj institutions in India through insertion of Article 243 to Part 9 of Indian Constitution. The Act was enforced upon all the state governments through constitutional amendment in Article 243, and that all states should amend their Panchayat Acts in conformity with the constitutional provisions. 14. When is the World Consumers' Day celebrated? Answer: World Consumer Rights Day is celebrated every year on March 15th. 15. The Battle of Buxar had helped the British to get many benefits. Substantiate. Answer: The Battle of Buxar proved itself to be a turning point in the history of India. The interest of British was concentrated into three coastal areas, namely Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. The Anglo-French Wars in Carnatic and the battles of Plassey and Buxar began the period of British conquest of India. By 1765, the British had become the virtual rulers of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. The Nawab of Awadh had become dependent on them, and so was the Nawab of Carnatic, who was their creation. 16. How did subsidiary alliance control Indian provinces? Answer: A subsidiary alliance, in South Asian history, describes a tributary alliance between a native stater and either French India, or later the British East India Company. They were to be protected by the East India Company but had to pay for the subsidiary forces that the company was to maintain for protection. 17. The condition of Indian soldiers in the British Army was very pathetic. Justify. Answer: The condition of Indian soldiers in the British Army was very pathetic. They get lower wages as compared to the British soldiers. Indian soldiers were not allowed to wear any religious marks, which was against their religion. They were also asked to cross these routes, but Indians were not allowed to do so, as they considered sea as their god. They also get crude punishments by the British. 18. What are features of fascism? Answer: Features of fascism are, 1. Powerful and continuing nationalism. 2. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. 3. Supremacy of the military. 4. Rampant sexism. 19. What are the achievements of Lenin as President of Russia? Answer: Vladimir Ilyich Lenin of April 22, 1870, January 21, 1924, better known by the alias Lenin, was a Russian revolutionary, politician, and political theorist. He served as head of government of Soviet Russia from 1917 to 1922 and of the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1924. 20. India has been considered as one of the powerful countries of the world. Why? Answer: The Republic of India is considered one of the emerging superpowers of the world. This potential is attributed to several indicators, the primary ones being its demographic trends and a rapidly expanding economy. In 2018, India became the world's fastest-growing economy with an 8.4% GDP rate, mid-year terms. 21. In spite of the border dispute between India and China, how have they strengthened their relationship? Answer: In spite of the border dispute between India and China, they strengthened their relationship A. by Panchashila principle. B. by the exchange of goods between them. C. if they both started fighting, then other countries would attack on them and easily capture them. 22. Why is mob violence an antisocial activity? Answer: Activities such as lynching is considered as the mob violence. It is under the Law Act torture, self-constituted court during American Revolution courts and others such as vigilante justice, Sandy Hermandad and civil rights. So, mob violence an antisocial activity. 23. Why does the climate of India vary from one region to another? Answer: There are two main reasons that climate varies from place to place are, a. the amount of energy arriving from the sun, and b. the circulation of the atmosphere and oceans which carry heat and moisture from one place to another. 24. How has agriculture helped in the development of secondary and tertiary sectors? Answer: Primary industry uses land in the broad sense of the term to produce output. This could be a farm, a coal mine, a fishing boat, a forest, etc. Obviously, in reality those industries also require other inputs such as fertilizer, fuel, capital and labor, but for a primary industry the main input is treated as being land. Secondary industries take the commodities produced by the primary industries and use them to manufacture products. The tertiary industries would be everything else, which would include the service industry, the retailers, etc. The model is simplistic, as many good models are, and reflects perhaps a simpler and more basic economy than is mostly seen in the developed world. 25. Energy crisis is a major problem of India in recent days. Why? Answer: India is currently facing energy crisis with its major dependency on coal, crude oil imports to meet sharply growing energy needs of the country. More than 40% household lack access to electricity. Coal supply by Coal India Limited (SIL) is restricted to around 65% of actual coal requirement by coal-based thermal plants, leading to increased dependence on imported coal. 26. Road transport is better than railway transport. Substantiate. Answer: Road transport operating cost is cheaper than rail transport. Road transport is easy to access in hilly areas, whereas in rail transport it's difficult to reach such places. Road transport is better than rail transport to transport goods for short distance. 27. The formulation of Human Development Index, HDI, was essential to measure economic development. Explain. Answer: The Human Development Index, HDI, is a statistical tool used to measure a country's overall achievement in its social and economic dimensions. The social and economic dimensions of a country are based on the health of people, their level of education attainment and their standard of living. 28. Globalization affects food habit and health of the people. How? Answer: The nutrition transition, implicated in the rapid rise of obesity and diet-related chronic diseases worldwide, is rooted in the processes of globalization. Globalization affects the nature of the food supply chain, thereby altering the quantity, type, cost, and desirability of foods available for consumption.